Hello and welcome to this module on Java Swing. The idea is to introduce the basic principles of Swing, to walk you through some examples from the good old-fashioned no programming would be complete without hello world, buttons, layouts, organising windows, reacting to events. Remember, Swing is an event-driven language. I hope you enjoy the module. It's been fun putting this together, and well, let's get started. What is Swing? Swing really was the first big step, I would say, for Java having a graphical user interface, or a GUI. It did have AWT. When I first learnt Java, I went on the various Sun training courses that were popular at the time, and AWT was fantastic. I'd done a little bit of X-motif programming on Unix before, and so I kind of understood the principles. It wasn't really my thing, but I sort of knew what was going on. Then Swing came along, and it bundled up a whole load of AWT into much easier to use packages and bundles, really. Packages actually has a meaning in Java, so I shouldn't really use that term. And it also provided an extensive toolkit and wrote a whole load of additional things which are known as widgets, which, if you're familiar with programming in a GUI environment, you'll know what a widget is. A widget is basically, or very simply put, something such as a button, a menu item, a frame. No, I'm not sure if frame counts as a widget, but those sorts of things. And Swing extended AWT a lot, really made it practical. The other good thing about Swing, which I can't remember if AWT had or not, is you can change the look and feel of Swing without doing masses of code. It's actually quite simple, which makes it appealing to people who came from X-motif and alike, and also from Microsoft. And I suspect in those days that was when Jobs was having this thing about being anti-Java because it's not Apple, so it will never succeed. He went off on that kind of thing for a long time. Anyway, so I suspect it didn't really apply to Apple. But there were also lots of other systems around at the time. I don't think MVS went GUI. I only ever remember that being terminal based. But there were quite a few others, and lots of different flavours of Unix in those days. Lots. Just about every mainstream high street brand of computer had its own Unix in those days. So anyway, that's what Swing gave us, really. So, now we know that. I use Netbeans as an IDE. The reason for that is, one, it's free. Two, it's very well supported, very well maintained, and it's used in many big companies. So if you're taking this module with the hope of improving career or employment or something like that, Netbeans is a good one to know. Eclipse is probably the next biggest, most popular one that I can think of. Again, supported on many platforms. I've used both over the years. Each of them have their own good and bad bits. But anyway, we're using Netbeans. There's a slide on where you can download it. and links to the official download sites. Choose the one that is best fitting to your environment and follow the instructions. I won't give any here because it would be my luck that they'll do an update and then what I say is out of date. I installed it on a clean install of Ubuntu, and so I also needed to do an additional step which I think is tucked away somewhere in the instructions, but not necessarily obvious. I had to install Java separately for Netbeans to run properly, and if you look on the slide you'll see the command I ran. It is the Ubuntu command. Various other flavors of Linux will have their own package manager and their own way of installing software, so please just follow what's appropriate for what you're using. So now let's crack on. Show you also how to create a new project. We're going to be using Java command line, or Java application, I think it's referred to in Netbeans, and you can. It's your choice whether you use Ant, Gradle, Maven, and I'm not sure what other ones come with it, but it's your choice. I personally don't have a preference. I tend to just select whichever one takes my mood at the time for just doing demos. If you're on a big project, then well, you have to fit in with what is being used for the big project. That's about it. And so now we have our clean project. I'm just going to go through and show you that on Netbeans it puts a template up at the top which you can configure to be whatever you want really. I don't bother on this system just because I only use it for my own things. And what I'm going to, you can see it's got a main, it's got the class surrounding it and so on. So let's make it do something. Let's just make it say hello to the outside world. So you should be, if you're on this course, you should be familiar with system out println. So we should be able to do that. And we'll run it. And you can see exactly what we would expect. And if we set a breakpoint, we can do so by clicking in the margin window. You can see it goes to red. You see the button I've pressed for debug. It runs to the breakpoint, goes green. Tell it to carry on. and you get the second Hello World come out. Everything really that you should expect for the level you should be at this stage.